All right, when you open up your Proline box on the top, the first thing you're going to find if you've got a single driver light is you're going to find a box that includes your driver tray. And importantly, out of here, we're going to need these two driver installation tabs, and we're going to need these thumb screws that attach all of the thumb bars and the driver tray. You're also going to have another box that's going to have your power cord, and it's going to have your rope hangers. So that's on the single driver tray models. And if you've got a photon boost dual driver tray model, then you've got one large box, and all of those pieces I mentioned, the driver tray attachment tabs, the thumb screws, and the power cord, will all be included in that box. The next thing you're going to want to get together are the frame bars that you're going to attach the light bars to. And then you're going to also want to get your light bars out and have everything ready so that we can get started on assembly. Okay, so here is everything you're going to need to complete construction of your Proline light. There is the driver tray and the adapter tabs, the thumb screws that put everything together, the frame bars, and the light bars. Okay, so I went ahead and laid out my frame bars at either end of the table, and I did go ahead and put one of the light bars in just to make the video easier to put together. So all of the Proline lights are assembled in the exact same way, and the most important thing you need to be aware of is at the end of the light bar here on one side, you're going to see a couple of electrodes. That's your positive and negative DC input for the light bar. And on the frame, on one side, the side that has the wire coming out, you will see that there will be female connections. On the other side of the frame, there is no input, and you can see no male positive and negative there. So you're basically just going to take those bars and you're going to simply slide them in, like so. Slide in your other bar, make sure that those connectors are lined up, and then you're going to get your little handy dandy thumb screws and put your thumb screw in, screw it on in, thumb screw screwed in, and then we'll repeat on the other side. Thumb screwed, and now we're getting the last of the light bars, and we're going to go ahead and throw that in on the other side. All right, now the only thing you want to be aware of when you've got your Proline lights is if you've got one of our dual spectrum lights where you've got the dual driver photon boost and you've got the spectrum control, is that you'll notice there are blue and red positions on the frame. So the blue light bars have a different forward voltage than the red light bars, so they are not compatible. If you have the spectrum control frame, make sure that you get the super blue light bars into the input with the blue insert, and then the big red light bars will go into the input with the red insert. If for some reason you can't discern the different colors on the frame itself, then just install the bars so that every other bar is different, and you can look at the writing on the bar itself to see whether it's a super blue or big red light bar. Very important step for people with the photon boost spectrum control. Okay, so once all the light bars are installed, we've got the basic light completed, and now you're just going to take your driver, put it over here. You're going to take your waterproof connector, you basically match it up with your input on your frame, screw, 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 and then turn this bad boy on, and boom, we have light. Now we'll go ahead and show you how to set up installing the driver on the light fixture itself. Okay, so to install your driver, make sure you've got your, first of all, your driver tray over there. Make sure you've got the driver tray installation brackets. These are required for all models except the Proline 8. And then make sure that you've got the small bag of thumb screws. So that small bag of thumb screws comes in the larger bag. Again, the larger thumb screws are for the light bars, and the smaller, shorter ones are for the driver itself. So if you are installing the driver on the light itself, the first thing I want you to do is look at the back of the light bars, and you'll see that in the light bars themselves there are some little nuts. These are the nuts that you're going to screw the thumb screws into to hold everything together. So find those little nuts and just get them into place so that they are where you need them to be to install the driver. Now, installing the driver on the Proline 8, you can see that there's these little fins that are built directly into the driver tray. And for everything but the Proline 8, you've got these mounting tabs, and they have a little fin right here. And that little fin goes directly in this slot on the light bars themselves. So I've actually got one of the tabs already installed here on the driver tray, and I'm just going to slide these little fins into there, line it up with the bolts, or excuse me, the nuts that we found in our earlier step. And then we're going to simply take the other tab, and this part can be a little bit tricky, but you got to install the other tab right here on the end of the driver tray itself. So what you're going to do is you take the driver tray, you can see there's a little thin slot there, and then that thin slot matches up with this edge of the driver tray. So you're pushing this thin slot over the edge of the driver tray all the way on, and then you see a little tab in there. You can see a little tab that's coming up. That little tab will lock in. Okay, put that back down on your light bars, get those fins in place, and then the next thing you want to do is line up those little bolts right there, the little nuts, I should say, with the holes. And then same thing over here, you're going to want to line those little nuts up with the holes. All right, then we're just going to come back over here to those little thumb screws we mentioned earlier, grab those little bad boys, put them directly into the hole, line it up with the nut that is in the frame bar, and boom, you are rocking. And then just do that at all four corners. These ones aren't lined up, so it might take a little bit longer. There you go. Got that one in. And there you go. Now your driver is completely installed on your light, and everything is up and running. That's all it takes to assemble a ProLine light. You can easily take that driver and mount that to a wall. We've got extension cords so that you can remote mount your drivers. And yeah, that's about it. ProLine, super easy, y'all. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on text or DM. We're always available. And thanks again for your support. Appreciate you all.